Hello and welcome. My name is Marshall Shimmon. I work for a Schools Insurance Authority in the Prevention Services Department. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about my background before we get started. I come from a kinesiology exercise science background. I'm also certified through American College of Sports Medicine as a health and fitness specialist and well coach. I also worked in physical therapy for 5 years and learned quite a bit about injuries. Today I'm going to be sharing with you lifting and carrying safely. So let me ask you one very important question before we get started. What is your favorite physical activity? Now, how would life be different if you were unable to do that physical activity? Well, there's one thing that can take that from you, and that's an injury. Of all injuries, strains and sprains are the most frequently occurring and the most costly. 8 out of 10 people will sustain a back injury sometime during their lives. So my hope today is to share some things with you to help protect your quality of life. Let's take a look at some of the components that are involved. We have the head and the eyes, we have the body, and we have the environment in which we're working in, and the specific task in which we're performing in that environment. For the particular lifter involved, we have to identify what's going on in the brain, what's going on with the eyes. For a crane and forklift operator, they are the brain and the eyes of that apparatus. They see what's going on. They can filter out with their brain distractions that are going on. But they also must be aware of their particular mindset while they're operating that apparatus. Are they in an angry mood? Are they upset? If you can recall somebody in your life who was ever very angry, very upset, and got behind the wheel, how did that affect their level of safety while they're driving? Well, the answer is obvious. They're less safe. Ultimately, the brain comes up with a plan of what you're going to do and how it's performed. When we take a look at the body of the lifter, we don't have the luxury of a crane or a forklift. We are the lifter. Our body in its entirety is used, starting from the feet, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the core region, chest, shoulders, arms, and hands. The entire body is involved with lifting. So we want to make sure and address each portion of that body. Your physical condition has everything to do with your ability to stay safe while you lift. If you have a current injury, you want to make sure not to be lifting and carrying if it's going to be aggravating that particular injury. You also want to be dressed in the proper attire. You want to make sure your pants are loose, comfortable fitting, and that you have proper shoes. You want to make sure your shoes are in good condition, non-slip, closed toe. Gloves and back support belt are optional. When we take a look at the particular task that we're performing, there's 2 main areas, either an object or a person that we'll be lifting and carrying. You must identify and understand what that particular object's size is, how much it weighs, is it balanced? Do you need to reposition the contents of that box before you even lift it? And where are you going to place the hands? Can you place your hands in a way that you get a very good grip, full grip, not just the fingertips? And are mechanical devices available? If you have a hand truck, you have a dolly or a cart, make sure and use those before expending all that energy. If you're lifting a person, the same criteria, the same variables apply with a few extra considerations. You want to know, is that person able to bear weight? Is that person physically disabled in a way that lifting and carrying can actually cause harm or injury to that person before you do any lifting at all? If it's an emergency environment and you're helping to assist somebody out of harm's way, you want to have a small conversation with them to identify if they're combative before you try to help this person. And then again, are mechanical devices available? A solo lift, a Hoyer lift. These type of apparatus can take the strain off your back and body. In the particular environment in which you're performing this task, there are many considerations. You want to take a look at the noise level. What is the pace of the environment? Is it crowded with people? Are you working in confined or limited space? Are there slippery surfaces? Any trip hazards that need to be removed before you lift and carry? And are there stairs? Must all be addressed before you even touch an object. We're going to take a look at a plan. The brain is the center for developing a plan. The most basic plan is imperative to safe lifting and carrying. You want to ask, who's involved with the lift? Is somebody going to be required to hold the door open for you? Are you going to be lifting something that weighs a considerable amount of weight or size? If you don't know the contents of a particular object, you need to identify what you're lifting, how much it weighs, how it's balanced. And then where are you going? What's the distance? And are there any obstacles that you should remove before you even lift that object? Now that we've got a plan, let's do some lifting. Here at SIA, we utilize this blue crate for quite a bit of demonstration. One of the things I like to see before I instruct somebody on how to lift and carry safely, I want to see what technique they're using right now. Invariably, the techniques will be different. We have technique ranging from, okay, keep my back straight, to, you know what, it's very light. I'm just going to pick it up however. Don't be deceived. This object weighs 10 pounds. You're more likely to be injured by an object that weighs 0 to 10 pounds versus an object that weighs 10 to 25 pounds. You may ask yourself, what? That doesn't make any sense at all. You can check with any doctor at any hospital and they'll tell you the most reported strain is related to lifting light objects. Anytime you bend down to tie your shoes, pick up a light object, you're using your body. You're not lifting any weight other than your own body. Before you lift anything, you have to identify your physical condition as it relates to lifting and carrying. The wide stance is your base, is your foundation. With the wide stance, you're able to drive power from your legs, but also you're more balanced. Toes need to be pointed out slightly. Heels are about shoulder width apart. Get as close to the object as you can. Hands right against the front of your thighs. You want to have your elbows tucked in against your side. Stomach tight as though you're trying to defend yourself from a punch to the abdomen. Chest up, head up. Squat down slowly and controlled. Grab on with a firm grip, whether it's on the bottom or by the handles. Reposition and get the hips closer to your hands. Chest up, head up. Lift slowly and controlled. Turn your body as a unit. Even if the distance that you're traveling is 1 to 3 feet, resist the temptation to twist. Let your arms hang down. Wide stance, set it down right between the feet. Now this object, even though it says 20 pounds, is closer to 60 pounds. You want to have a wide stance again, toes pointed out slightly, stomach tight, chest up, head up. Get a good hand position underneath the box. Reposition and get your arms close to your body, chest up, head up, stomach tight. Push with your legs. Clear your legs enough to do a little bit of walking. Arms straight, set it down right between your feet. Now this object, even though it's not very heavy, may pose an issue because it's a slight bit awkward. If you wanted to carry something else on top of this, your vision would be obstructed. So you want to make sure and treat it as though it weighs 100 pounds. Grab tight here, grab tight here. You're as close as you can possibly. Chest up, head up. Turn your body as a unit and set it down. Same way you picked it up. The last object that we're going to take a look at is the garbage can. Now, a common item in most school districts, you'll see a garbage can, and most of the times it's full. The custodian has the duty of removing the trash can liner plus the contents of the garbage can. If they're lifting the garbage can as a whole, same techniques apply. Wide stance, get close, chest up, head up. Lift your body slowly and controlled. Walk to where you have to go, and then set it down. Now that we've covered some actual demonstrations of lifting and carrying safely, let's review some techniques and some safety points so that you can have a full picture of what it means to lift and carry safely. Your technique has everything to do with your protection from injury. The first thing before lifting and carrying is take full inventory of your physical body. Make sure you're present, you're grounded, get focused on what you're doing. You want to make sure that you have a clear plan. When you approach the object, get as close to it as you possibly can. Get those feet wide, keep the stomach tight. As you squat down, make sure and squat down in a slow, controlled manner. You don't want to just drop. You want to keep your chest up and your head up, which is often overlooked. People tend to lean forward. And you want to lift with your legs. If you do all the other components related to chest up, head up, everything else will come naturally. You don't even really need to focus on the legs. It'll happen. You want to always remember to hold the load close to your body while you're walking and move your body as a unit. You want to make sure and avoid any twisting. If you twist your torso, you have a higher risk of a low back strain. If you're walking and you become distracted and you turn your head, that's a neck strain. Avoid any twisting. Move your body as a plane. Avoid sudden and jerky movements. If you have to reach over something to grab something else and you have to jerk it, the chances of injury go up significantly. So make sure you're close enough so you don't have to jerk the object up. Avoid lifting immediately after you've been in a static posture. If you can recall a time when you've driven long distance, you've been in the car 2-3 hours at a time, when you get out of the car, your joints are very stiff, very achy. You want to make sure and warm up, walk around slowly, get prepared for your lift. And then again, minimize the distractions. The safely component when addressing lifting and carrying comes into play with your focus, avoiding accidents. 95% of accidents are preventable. It's well within your grasp to avoid those injuries. Distractions related to thoughts and feelings can take place at work, thinking about home. At home, thinking about work. You may also be distracted about plans for the weekend, things you just did on the weekend. Those recreational activities can pop in during times when you want to be focused on what you're doing. You also have to remember that if you're focused, you're less likely to get hurt. If you've ever stubbed your toe or cut your finger, I guarantee it wasn't on purpose. It was an accident. So remember, use good preventative awareness, use proper lifting technique, and ultimately understand that your fitness has everything to do with your protection against injury. It's your primary line of defense. The more fit you are, the more conditioned you are, the less likely your body is going to become injured. So the better your strength, the better your endurance, the safer you are. Thank you for your time in reviewing lifting and carrying safely. We'll hope to see you soon.